Welcome to the Nerd Lag Game Club. In this episode, we talk about 2016's Quantum Break, and we have a pretty deep discussion of what we would do if we could time travel. Nerd Lag Game Club. Welcome to the Nerd Lag Game Club podcast, the podcast that gives us a chance to step back and play a game with friends. I'm Corey, and I'm joined with 4 party members today. Lauren.
Hey.
Tunza.
¿Cómo estás?
Dan.
Hello.
And Tony.
What's going on, fellas?
In this episode of the Game Club, we're jumping through time and playing 2016's Quantum Break. Quantum Break was developed by Remedy Entertainment and published by Xbox Game Studios. Remedy Entertainment has developed other popular games such as Alan Wake, Control, and the early Max Payne games. This was Tony's pick, so he's going to talk a little bit about what Quantum Break is.
All right, so what Quantum Break is an action-adventure game. It's third person. You play as Jack Joyce, who has the power to manipulate time. Making everything freeze except him. He faces a bunch of enemies. There's this company called Monarch, which is evil, created by Littlefinger. You know, because I don't know Aiden Gillian. You know that douchebag from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Or just Littlefinger
Yeah.
the whole time I
Yeah.
played this game.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I refer to him as.
I can't not picture
Littlefinger.
him as Littlefinger anymore.
Right? I mean, yeah. So, what Littlefinger did was, he did some shady stuff. He pretty much stole Jack's brother's invention, pretty much, and created it himself after he went back in time. Jack's brother is played by Charlie from Lost, so it's pretty awesome. There's a pretty good cast here. The one dude, Hatch, is I forget what his name, Lance Reddick. He is Zavala in Destiny. So, it's a good cast. He's also in Lost, too. He's, in, 1 or 2 backstory season episodes. But, yeah, so, it's a third-person shooter. There's some environmental puzzles in it. There's a lot of collectibles into it. All in all, it's a pretty good game. I just wish it wasn't Xbox exclusive because I hate Xbox.
All right. So every episode of the Game Club, I like giving one interesting fact about the game we're playing. So for Quantum Break, I couldn't really find too much about it, but when this game went into production, the project was actually supposed to be a sequel to Alan Wake. I don't know if you guys knew that.
No, I did not know that.
Also, I found out, apparently they're supposed to have 3 different Well, you were supposed to also be able to play as Beth in the game, but they had to scrap that in the process of making the game.
Well, they didn't go with a sequel because Remedy felt like with only 50 people employed at the time that they wouldn't be able to give it a good sequel, so they just made something completely different.
Yeah, they just made Control instead, which was pretty much the same game, is what I've heard.
So,
there's a lot.
With that being said, who wants to walk counterclockwise in the time machine and talk about the story?
We haven't heard from Dan, so Dan should do it.
Is Dan even there? Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah.
So how about you just do the opening part? Lead us into the story. What is taking place in the first part of Act 1?
The first part of Act 1. Okay, that's pretty easy. So Jack Joyce gets a phone call or text or whatever from Paul. I think that's a Littlefinger, as Tony
Paul
was
String.
putting it.
Yeah,
okay.
Littlefinger.
I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't know who.
What?
But anyways, gets a call from him, and he's like, "Hey, I need help with this thing," and so it goes to the college, and his brother is also supposed to be helping in some regards. And the thing they've been working on was a time machine. And then they get it all up and running, and it it malfunctions. Is that correct? It malfunctions, right? Is that what happened?
Your mic spazzed out. I have no idea.
I don't know if
No,
it's
I thought it went like according to plan because like as you find out later in the story, like everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen for what happened later in the story.
Yeah, but it like
It
exploded.
still went wrong.
Was
Yeah, but
It
like
caused the fracture.
yeah,
caused
it caused the
at
fracture.
time, yeah. But
Yeah,
still,
if it was
everything
right, it wouldn't have
happened.
caused
Yeah.
the fracture of time.
Yeah,
They just
that's
did
what I
that.
was getting at.
They just did the equation right.
Yeah, so it breaks or whatever, causes the fracture in the time, and Paul and Jack Joyce gain abilities in order to manipulate the time around them.
Yeah, they're considered shifters.
Shifters, yeah. So Jack Joyce and William, his brother, go to flee the college campus because Monarch is after them.
I think that sums it up. I honestly didn't know they were called shifters. I must have
I
missed
didn't
that.
either.
I
Yeah.
read a lot of the lore stuff.
Fair enough.
So early on, as you get your powers, you are able to do very little. I think one of the first abilities you get is kind of like being able to observe like the area, like you can like see enemies and different things. Am I?
Yeah.
Your typical like
Like Eagle Eye and
I feel like-
Assassin's Creed.
I feel like Arkham Asylum started that whole like trend where you could like ping and see like footsteps and stuff.
After like that little part, Will tells you that he needs to get something out of his car, so your goal is to take him to his car to get said items. When you go to the parking lot, Monarch basically sends like a full force fleet after you, which is kind of the first like major combat that I think you get into. I mean, there's a few things here and there, but that's kind of like your first big gunfight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree.
After that gunfight, you find out that Monarch did get your brother, so then you're on like a chase to get him from the old library.
Yep.
This is where it starts throwing in a little more of like the puzzle platformer kind of side of things.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
Because this is where you go ahead.
Do you have a rewind time type of like
No.
puzzle solve there and then, or no?
No.
You get
Or
the
just a
ability to
platformer?
jump,
Yeah.
which apparently you couldn't jump until then.
I guess not. I don't remember.
And you like climb up and you kind of see events that are a little weird, but as like the story progresses it makes more sense, but you see things happening and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like that's pretty random. You get to the library, have a pretty like big shootout in like the main hall. Paul comes in, you find out that Paul already had powers and he manipulated you basically. And
Well, he was also older.
right. So he's like but you don't know at the time that he is.
Yeah, but you could tell that his hair is all fucking gray.
Yeah, so he's much older looking. But he controls his powers much better. He knows how to use them. So you kind of get your ass kicked by him. And then he causes an explosion that makes the library crumble and fall on your brother. And you assume that he's dead. And I think that's how that first act ends, right?
Yeah. It's very
Yeah,
close.
they knock
Yeah,
out
you get
Jack and
captured.
Yeah.
And they throw you in like a van. And
Yep.
you kind of
Yeah.
meet some minor characters here that end up playing a bigger role, but
Yeah,
they're
like
very Liam, Beth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they have very little impact to things in the first act, but later on become way more essential. After the first act, you go into, what are these called?
Junctions.
The first
Yeah.
junction.
Junction choices.
So in the first junction, you had two choices. So I don't know if we can kind of just want to go around. This is probably a disclaimer that at this point there will be a lot of spoilers if you have not played the game about what is going to happen in the story, and that me and Lauren played this together. We did not
You guys
play
played
this.
it together.
Yeah, we did not play this separately. We played this together.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the same time.
So I did the gameplay portion of it, and she helped me make decisions and watch the episodes and stuff with me.
Okay.
So all of mine and Lauren's choices will be the same.
Correct.
So we'll kind of go around and see what everyone's first junction was. I will go first. I went with the PR campaign in this first junction.
Same.
Uh,
That's why I went.
Yep, that's what I did.
So essentially,
but-
you have two choices. The PR one is using Sam, which we did not mention. She's like the leader of like a protest at the college.
Amy.
Amy.
I
Yeah,
was like,
whatever.
who's Sam?
Same name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sam.
same.
What?
You just move the letters around. It's all the same.
Yeah,
Um,
why?
But they capture
Yeah,
her when Monarch storms the university, and you can either choose to kill her as like a statement, but it shows you. Well, I guess we should probably say that Paul is so advanced in his time manipulation that he can see the future.
You can see different outcomes,
Yeah,
like
snippets.
on choices. You know what I mean? Like you can see different outcomes. Like you can see part of like what would happen if she would have died or if she would have stayed alive. Like if she would have died, I think like everyone would have turned against Monarch and everyone would have been people would have been behind Jack and would have helped Jack out more.
Yeah. So that's the option you could pick to kill her, or the option that I went with was PR. She has a huge influence on the community, so you use her to make a statement saying that Jack Joyce caused all of it. He's the bad guy, and Monarch looks good, but they're just snippets, so he can't really see like the in between stuff. So I went PR, and what else? You went PR, Tunza?
Yeah.
And,
I did too.
And Dan?
Oh, I killed her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Axia.
When I did it, it said that 70% of the community went with the PR campaign.
Yeah, mine was like, yeah, like 28% was with you, and I was like, ooh, yikes. I think every single choice I made, it was like the lower half of people picked that choice.
Yeah, so I know Dan's choices because it shows you at the end of like the act, and he did. He picked typically the opposite of me,
Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, the only one that I think that I didn't pick like according to how business-like and like ruthless he should have been would have been like the second one. But
Okay,
the difference is that he had Nick the cabbie from the beginning as like his like chaperone in the second.
Yeah, instead of Amy. Yeah.
So my whole reasoning for like killing her and everything and making Monarch, seem to be the bad guys and everything. I wanted them to be like
The bad guy.
hated. I wanted Paul motherfudging Serena or Serene or whatever his
Serene.
last name
Serene.
was to suffer. I hated that guy.
Yeah.
You would have hated him in Game of Thrones also.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
He's the same person.
The
Yeah.
perfect
literally the
villain.
same person. Yeah.
Yep.
So PR wise, she gives that these like change in between each act. They do a live episode. I don't know if these vary in length, but they're generally around like a half hour to 45 minutes. So in our PR one, it just shows like what happens in between, basically.
Yeah.
So it kind of fills in the rest of the story. I really like these.
Me too.
Yeah, they're good. They're definitely unique.
Yeah.
And you meet like in the first one you meet Charlie and Fiona, which Charlie's just like a super like hacker IT guy, and Fiona works there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to know more about Liam, which I'll just throw this out now. Liam is hands down my favorite character in this whole game.
Me too.
But what is the other one? How does that episode change since they don't do the PR campaign?
So, I mean, clearly I don't know what happens during the PR campaign, but basically, Hatch is sitting there with Amy with like two guards like on both sides of her, and he's like trying to get like info out of her or something like that. And he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna leave, and whenever I do, the guard on your right is gonna shoot you." And then he just kind of like leaves, and then he shoots her. And then Liam, at the sight of it, just kind of like looks in disgust and like leaves. And then Hatch ends up catching up to Liam and like talks to him about Jack's van like disappearing or whatever.
Yeah. So the only thing that changed was that he told her she was gonna die.
I
'Cause
guess
That's exactly what happened in
Yeah, you have
ours.
the gun show off with Liam and Beth, and then their
Yeah.
guns disappear.
Because
Yeah,
Jack just
that's
manipulates
like the
time.
very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are things throughout the episode or through the acts called time ripples. I only found one, but apparently I found them all when I was looking at like the statistics at the end, and I never noticed a difference.
It was just like very small differences.
Yeah.
Like the one in the first act, I don't remember what it was.
It mentioned it. It's a formula.
But yeah, at the I don't know, at the cafeteria or whatever, the store that Fiona got like food from, there was two guys, I think, like on a table, like in a table, and it like panned by them and they like mentioned something that you found.
yeah,
they're like somebody figured out the formula.
That was about it.
That was basically.
Yeah, the equation. Yeah, that William solved. Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, that's the only one I really noticed. But like I said,
I know there was one where it was. I mean, it's kind of like Act 4, but he like Charlie picks up like a little sword thing from a drink. And that was about it.
And that's the thing he like throws, right?
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So first act pretty simplistic. It kind of gets the story moving. So we'll go into Act 2. And whoever can take the lead on Act 2. Act 2 is the dry docks.
Act 2 is the dry docks. All right, so you're pretty much just fighting your way through the dry docks, trying to get to Serene. Because I chose
Charlie's warehouse.
Yeah, through Charlie's warehouse. So you see a ripple in time in the first act, right? That you see Charlie building his time machine, and Jack's just amazed that that he actually built it and it actually worked, and then it was gone. It was like gone and everything.
This is Charlie from Lost, but Will in the game.
Yeah.
Okay,
Will
I was so confused.
I only see him as Charlie. I mean, like everything I see him in, I say, "Oh, look, it's Charlie."
Yeah,
But yeah, so you're fighting your way through the dry docks, and you find this ripple in time where you see Will's time machine and how he made it, and like it just like flies by as you're just walking through it, and then you fight some guys. You learn some stuff because I chose Amy. She accompanied me through this mission.
Same.
And she like trying to tell you like, oh, there's these guys in these suits that can freeze time like you and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I got to take care of this, like, you know? And you pretty much get to the end, and then you finally catch up to Littlefinger, Serene, and he doesn't have his guy shoot you, but instead he manipulates time and causes this giant, like, well, he was on a tanker, right?
Yeah.
Like some kind of
barge.
tanker, yeah, a barge, and it just started falling around you, and it was like kind of like a puzzle on how to get through it without dying and stuff, and it was pretty cool. And then you finally meet Beth, and that's the entire act too.
Which is
Can I
great.
can I make a note as
Yo.
well?
Yeah,
Since I had Amy killed in my little episode thing, she did not make an appearance in this act.
Yeah.
Good
you
old
had-
cab driver Nick appeared.
so,
Cab
so
driver Nick.
Nick accompanied you. Yeah,
Yeah, he hung out with me. He was
Okay.
my bro.
yeah.
It's the most random thing ever.
Yeah.
This is when like Lauren was really like hanging out with me, and she hasn't been able to talk much. But this was when that barge thing was like falling over. I died like 4 times trying to get through that one part.
Mhm.
With, like the rack
The
falling over.
yeah, the shelves or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's I didn't realize like that I could hold the shift button for longer
Oh yeah,
at that point, because you're getting new powers during all this. Like you can do like little time freezes, and they're like little orbs, and you can like shift and run through time. I don't know if you have the shield yet at this point, but you have like a time shield.
you unlock the shield like if you spend your crone powers on that, right?
I know you just unlock things as you go, like
Yeah,
progressively.
I think that was the first thing I unlocked because I played on the hardest difficulty, so I used that to heal me 95% of the time.
Same. I just spam it when I needed to heal.
Yep,
Yeah.
same.
This, I guess, is a good point. What did you guys play this on? Because I was playing mouse and keyboard.
Xbox.
Yeah, I was playing on Xbox. I just used the controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played mouse keyboard. This game does not work well on a mouse and keyboard.
Can see that.
Yeah, I would assume that, yeah. That's why I did not play it on my computer.
There was points where when playing, like more towards the end, that the camera just didn't work at all.
Oh,
That's
okay.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I like had points where after something would take place in the story, like an event or whatever, my character, like the camera, I could not turn left or right. I could only move straight with my camera, and it would do it for like 45 seconds to a minute, where I could only look straight, which at certain points caused me to die.
I bet.
Which was pretty annoying. But I want to make one quick step back. During the first part where you're playing as Paul and you're talking to like Hatch, this is like one of the only glitches I really seen. We were walking over to where Amy is. Amy, right?
Yeah.
And his head turned all the way around to look at me.
Like
Yeah.
exorcism?
Yeah, like his body didn't turn. It was just his head, and his neck got real long. And he was like looking at Paul, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, so I was like, okay.
Nope.
But yeah, Act 2 is just kind of going through there. You get to Ground Zero, which is where you do the whole thing with like the barge falling, and then you go through like that puzzle. And then you go into the next decision.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which decisions were this one?
This was business or personal.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the business one was, but
I chose business.
I went personal on this.
I
Me
did
and Lauren made that
personal,
decision.
Yes, we did.
So
Yeah, I don't
instead
remember
of
the names.
so instead of Hatch talking, so you had Serene talk to Jack after he was captured.
Okay.
Yep, and then
Where I chose business, and then Serene focused on his speech, and Hatch talked to Jack in the the episode or the junction part. So I don't know how your episode went. I remember choosing that one the first time I played this game, so I chose the different things the second time. But so like in that junction, because I chose Hatch, I chose the business one. So Hatch was talking to Jack, and he was like being real like sneaky and like conniving and stuff, and he left him a gun and a key to escape.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
And plants the seeds for later.
The personal decision, Paul goes to talk to Jack, and Martin Hatch creates a diversion of a shooting at the speech. Because he's giving the speech, I guess. And so then Jack and Paul have a conversation. Paul leaves you there, and then how do you get out?
Yeah, how do you guys get out of it?
Beth Wilder comes in and lets you out.
Oh,
Sneaks
okay.
you out for like the gala.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what it is. And then you part ways with her after she
Mhm.
lets you out.
Yeah, she goes to the party. You go to his room
Okay.
or whatever.
This episode is like the live action episode's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Liam convinces a guard that he has to take shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then he
Literally
kicks the
throws
shit
him.
out
a
of him.
fucking chair. He just kicks a chair. He doesn't even kick the shit out of him. He just kicks a chair and knocks him out.
And I was like, all right, Liam's like a fucking badass.
Hmm.
He murders so many people.
And
Yeah.
so he escapes after taking out like the guard and stuff. You meet Charlie and Fiona. They're on a walk, and he's like, Charlie, you fucking scumbag, because he turned him in for being a traitor. And this is the first time he threatens to kill Charlie.
Yeah.
Then they go into Dr. Kim's lab, which is like a doctor that was working on like the time manipulation stuff.
That disappeared from the school.
Yeah, he disappeared.
They have a shootout in a lab, which seems very fucking dangerous.
Yeah, with the things they need.
Yeah.
Also, his chart says very dangerous inside.
Liam's does.
No, like Dr. Kim's. They say like it's
Okay.
dangerous inside.
Charlie then steals the vest that lets him manipulate time when they go in that hallway that like freezes time.
Yeah.
And he
Because
leaves.
Liam grabbed two, and he was like, "Here, put this on." And Liam was taking cover to make sure that they didn't get shot, and he just fucking took the other one and ran away like a little coward.
Yeah, what a punk bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Liam ends up killing the two Monarch guys that are trying to kill him. Him and Fiona escape. And is that it for this act?
I believe,
I believe so.
So it kind of leaves it open, but obviously they're moving the story along. Like I said, I like these episodes a lot. That's probably my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
And then we go into Act 3, which is
Party. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You're at the house at the party. Yeah.
Yeah, you go through like this rich house party.
Gala for all important guests. I couldn't tell if they invested in Monarch.
I
Or
thought
they're the
they were just the higher ups.
Might have been.
I just
But
know
yeah.
that the time frame in this game takes place over like 28 hours.
Yeah, it's like over one day or whatever. It's
And
real quick.
and a couple Back to the Futures.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Act 3's there's not really much to it when you're playing as Jack.
Your goal is to kidnap the doctor.
Yeah. What's her
Amaral-
name?
Amaral?
Amaral?
Amaral.
Dr. Amaral?
That's like your whole goal. Is you're looking for her. Beth she's doing something. I just don't remember what she is. Like she's at the party, not only just looking around. Because you meet up with her, because you steal
Yeah.
a time vest thing for her, and then they steal a boat and you leave, and you take it. Oh, we forgot that the last chapter you go to the swimming pool area. So we see the time machine that he's
Oh,
working on.
the
Oh, yeah,
original
yeah.
time machine.
That's
The
why.
original one.
That's why
The
you need to
OG.
steal. You need to kidnap the doctor, is because she will know how to actually run it.
She knows how to fix it because it's broken.
But that's basically all that chapter is. You go through. There's some cool collectibles and stuff in that one. A lot of screenplays getting like written to like somebody's trying to get Dr. Amaral to consult on a screenplay.
I read the first one of those and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I love it though because they keep going. Like there's more. I'm like,
Yeah, and he's
why?
like, he's really muscular. Like, okay.
I think my favorite thing about Remedy games is they just go off that deep end with their like collectibles and lore. But yeah, that's it for that one, and then we end back up at the swimming pool.
Yeah, that act is 2 parts.
Yep, 2 parts, the shortest one.
Yeah, it was real quick. It took me like 30 minutes.
Probably the one that I enjoyed the most.
We should
And it
also
was so
say
quick.
that during this act is whenever the whole fractures start getting like more out of control.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
she
Time
has
keeps stopping everywhere.
She confronts Paul about it, saying that they're becoming more rapid. Time is moving fast because it's originally supposed to happen in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
And
it's happening in what 2016.
2016.
Yeah, 2016.
also, because the decision is heavy on this, she gives like treatment to Paul because he's getting
Yeah.
sick from like being able to manipulate time. I don't
Yeah,
really
it's
know how
making him
that falls
sick.
in, but she has like
He's been keeping his
His treatments.
It's like Chronos.
His
something.
chrono treatments or whatever. It's his breathing or whatever. I don't know. I didn't really like. He was like sucking on a breathing apparatus. Like
so it's like she's giving him like helium or some shit.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
or like oxygen, straight oxygen, like an oxygen mask or whatever. But it's actually like a chronon treatment.
No, that's what it was. Yeah.
But after the act, you go into the junction, and basically your decisions are to trust the doctor. What's her name again?
Amaral. Dr.
And-
Amaral.
And think that Martin Hatch is a traitor, or you trust Martin Hatch and you think that she is a traitor. Those are like Paul's decisions at the end of this act. And what did everyone pick?
I chose to think the doctor is the traitor.
That's what I chose too.
Oh, we chose that she wasn't the traitor.
I chose that too.
Yeah, Martin Hatch had traitor written all over him.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't
yeah, I
trust
know, that's
that
why I
dude
wanted him to-
before.
So the
He's
reason
so
I
trusted.
chose what I chose was because like I felt that if it was real, Serene would have went with his friend that helped him get to where he was the entire time. Because Jack took the doctor, I felt like he would have felt she was the traitor. You know what I mean? Because she went with Jack and Beth, so that's why I chose Hatch over Dr. Amaral.
Yeah, and then there's weird parts where it's you find notes that they were more than just like she was more than just
Yeah.
helping him.
Yeah, they were lovers.
Yeah.
You
Which-
could tell based on
Like
how
her
they like
conversation.
touched their hands and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is why part of
Which
the
is
reason
why we saved her.
Yeah, part of the reason we chose that Martin Hatch was the traitor is because love makes you do a lot of stupid shit. So even if she was, you would have not. You would have been like, nope, no way, she loves me. Guys do it all the time. Um, and then this leads into the next episode, which is this is the one where
Troubleshooting the time machine.
Yeah.
What?
And that's that one.
what is it?
Wait, what did you say?
Well, the beginning of this chapter starts off with you leaving the gala and you have to cross the bridge.
Yeah, you have to cross the bridge, which I died several times
Well,
trying
No,
to
no,
do.
no. I
talking
was talking
about
about the
the
live action
episode.
episode.
Oh.
Oh, the live action
remember.
episode. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
That's where the live action episode. That's where what's his name? Charlie and Fiona meet
Liam.
up with Liam again, and Liam almost wanted to kick the shit out of Charlie, but then he said he has a lifeboat protocol, which saves everybody if you're on the lifeboat protocol from the fracture of time. So then those three went back to Monarch, right?
Well,
No,
Liam goes to get his
Mm.
wife.
No, so
Oh, Liam got shot first.
So this starts with Liam and Fiona catching Charlie on the bridge, like that little walking
Yes,
Wait,
bridge.
yeah.
That's how it started
I
for
thi-
you?
I think so.
I mean, that would kind of make sense, I guess. But I'm pretty sure it started with
It
Charlie.
started with
Like,
Charlie and Hatch talking.
yeah, but I'm assuming that probably didn't happen for you guys if Hatch was the traitor in your guys'.
Oh no, you're
thing?
right. He did. He talked to
Okay.
Charlie in that little glass room.
Yeah.
And he tells him about the lifeboat protocol and stuff. And then they meet up with Charlie. Liam's like, I should fucking kill you. This is dose. Second time he said I should fucking kill you. They go and they're like trying to leave the party, and as they're leaving, Liam gets shot. And they think he's dead. And the Monarch soldier is like, who are you guys? And Charlie like weasels his way out. So they leave, and the soldier says something about Liam's wife as he's looking over him.
Yeah.
He
And,
said,
he's
I'm gonna
gonna-
enjoy killing your wife.
Yeah. He
and,
says, yep.
and then Liam pulls a knife from his boot and slits his
Murder.
throat
Like a
Watches him bleed
badass.
out.
like a straight up badass. And then he stands up, picks his gun up, and shoots him twice.
3 times.
And then
No,
he
I think it
stands
was
there and he
more.
looks at him, and then he shoots him
Shoots
again.
yeah.
And he's like, "No zombies here. You ain't coming back." This is like perfect. Liam's character is exactly how you would act in this situation. Exactly
Oh yeah.
dead on with his character, because one, you know that his wife is like his life,
And she's pregnant.
and she's pregnant. And for him to say something and him to hear it, he was like, "No, fuck this guy." So then Liam leaves. Fiona leaves Charlie there because she said, "Fuck you." Liam goes to the hospital where his wife works, and there is a agent that is there talking to his wife, and he like gets her to come near him, and the agent tries to pull a gun. They have a big like fight in like the hospital, and then he strangles him with like the cord to like the machine.
One, how do all those people
Badass.
let him murder that guy in the
Yeah.
hospital? They just
Nobody even
watch. I'm like,
stepped in.
like, damn.
how?
He just killed that guy. And then they let him walk out, and he's like, yeah, you gotta get the Monarch.
Yeah, and he convinces his wife, like he finally tells her what he actually does.
Yeah, and that he wasn't a contractor or a business consultant or whatever he told the
That
lie.
field manager.
Field manager, yeah.
I'm a murderer.
I
for hire.
fucking love Liam. Like,
Same.
he's so good. And then I think that's pretty much it. This episode pretty much follows just them for the most part.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just Liam murdering people.
Yeah, just proving how much of a fucking badass he is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then Act 4 has, you're leaving the Gallo as Jack, as Tunsa was talking about, and you have to cross a bridge, like that leaves the area, like a big like bridge that you would drive across. I don't know what this is based out of. Like, is this based on a city?
Some New England type esque area.
Um,
At least that's the vibe I get.
but you go to meet Beth on a boat. Then you're like, well, this isn't gonna work, and then you try to go across the bridge, and a boat is like taking the bridge out.
Yes, that happened.
And then as like this is progressively going, you go into like a little area where you fight like one of your first like big enemy guys. This is probably a good point where the gameplay in this drives me insane, and this is where I started to not want to play it because it's so frustrating. The fact that I could kill an enemy with a gun one time by shooting him in the face, the same type of enemy, I could shoot him 5 times in the face and he would just stare at me, was so annoying. And the big guys are just, it's just an absolute nightmare. Like, I feel like they take more bullets than a fucking tank. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Like, to me, it just doesn't work. It's frustrating. And like I said, I'm playing mouse and keyboard, so it's even more agitating. So that part, like right before you do a lot of like the puzzling things, like with the bridge where you have to like jump and platform and stuff, just super frustrating, but
Yeah.
not the worst part. So you finally do get across the bridge, sorta.
Well,
Sort of.
yeah, sort of.
And what's the next part after that? Is it back at the swimming pool?
Yeah, once you get like rescued or whatever, you you get back to the swimming pool, and like since we have Amy, she's pulled out and like printed like 100 documents for like what like
Nick.
Monarch's saying. Yeah, I don't know. I think we have different amounts.
Oh
of
yeah,
documents, but
yeah. I have Nick because I got Amy killed.
yeah,
You got
sure.
like random Nick.
Whoa, cab driver, come on.
Yeah, so
The
we
cab
had
driver.
Yeah,
a bunch of
random.
documents that goes on during this whole process. We have to go through and like reboot the time machine, which makes sense later on of why you would have to restart
Yeah.
it. And when you come back to everything, well, no, this is where Beth tells you her secret. Is this part,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Because you see the painting.
Yeah, then her journal's right there. Did you guys
Well, you
read that
see
at all?
multiple paintings throughout the game
Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
of things that happened
Yeah, or going to happen.
or going to happen. Yeah.
Well, they acknowledge him. Usually, I think he thought he was seeing things. Because, like, she was like, oh, that's, like, he's like, is that you? And he's like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
so she saw him, too.
Then she talks about how she went back in time and told her 8-year-old self, 8?
The 1999
Yeah,
is when you find out 1999 is, like,
is important.
yeah.
But she tells herself like, hey, these are the set of events that are going to happen. This is what I need you to do. Basically gets her to where she is, and then you can look through her journal. I don't think I really looked that far into this.
It's cool. I mean, it just tells you about, like, she tried to prevent 9/11. She tried to change, like, a bunch of, like, stuff about her life, and nothing worked. It's the same thing as, like, how you'll get one for Paul, too, that basically demonstrates all the things he tried to change, and it just didn't work.
It just loops. It always loops
Yeah,
back
It
around.
just loops back around to what it was already at.
So after you reboot the machine and talk to Beth, Beth goes in and the doctor closes it on her going the wrong way.
Yeah, she sends her into the future?
The past.
No, she goes into
No,
the future
in the
first.
future first, yeah.
Because she witnesses the end of the world with Paul Serene, and then she chases him into the time machine, where they go into the first ever working time machine that Charlie did in 1999 in the swimming pool. Paul shoots Will.
Yeah, he
And-
shoots Will, which you see a
She-
video of this before all this
Yeah.
happens.
and then she ends up getting stuck there, and then she lives out the fantasy of giving the diary to her 8-year-old self, and then like is getting stuff prepped for the end of the chapter.
And then as Jack, you do go into the past like you're supposed to.
You go to 2010,
2010, yeah, to get the
Countermeasure.
but
Countermeasure.
the countermeasure. You meet Beth, and she's very different. There,
Mhm.
She's like mentally scarred.
Yeah, I mean, 11 years living a life of just hiding
in the pool
Like,
house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you kind of talk to her, you get yourself ready. Monarch storms the building. You got to protect her. The countermeasure gets thrown between like you and Beth and Paul, and it causes like a time warp, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. It necessarily throws everybody back.
Because you get like thrown into the future,
Oh yeah, it sends you forward, and
then you get to sit there and watch Paul kill Beth.
Yep.
He like shoots her, which sets you off in like a straight up fit of rage.
Yeah, and he takes the countermeasure.
Yep.
and that's how they know Monarch has it, or has always had it.
Yeah, and then you come back to the future like right before. Right? No, this is later.
Yeah, you come. Yeah, I don't remember now.
I don't remember the
I
order
thought you
of
just
events.
came back.
Yeah,
like,
you just came
I
back.
know you
come-
keep jumping back and forth, but I don't remember how it goes.
I think you just come back and everybody's gone.
Yeah, everything's like you come back to like present day,
Yeah,
and then your Jack storms towards like Monarch.
and at that point they've initiated
The lifeboat
lifeboat
protocol.
protocol.
Yeah.
In the episode, like the junction first, you play as Paul, and at this point he's basically completely lost it. And you have the ability to, I don't remember what the first choice is, but the second one is to surrender, like your plans.
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
I think the other one is like to keep your confidence or
control.
whatever. Keep
Take
Well,
control.
take control of like your rage, because like
And you
you're-
you take your last treatment.
right.
Yeah.
yeah, because this is depending on your thing. Martin blows up your Hatch blows up all your medicine.
Yeah, he blows
and
up
the
that
doctor's-
lab.
and then the doctor's missing at that point. Still, but she comes right back.
So in this junction, what did you guys pick?
I think I did the surrender. That was the one where you don't take the treatment, right?
That's what me and Lauren did as well. We did not take the treatment.
I took the treatment.
I took the treatment.
Do you still kill the guy?
Nope.
So when you surrender, he goes into like a fit of rage, and he like fucks that dude
He like
up. That's
yells
standing
at
there.
him for like asking like who he's working with or something like that, and he like throws him against the wall and kills him.
No, if you just inhale your little mask, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, "I'm calming down."
Yeah, pretty
They tell
much.
you to
It's like he's
arrest-
doing drugs.
Yeah, basically.
Ours
just
is
trying-
if he's going through withdrawal.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And then you go into the final live action episode,
Which is awesome.
which is super good. Charlie breaks into Monarch, puts him and Fiona on the list of the lifeboat protocol. Then Jack reaches out to Fiona because Beth is dead at this point. And he's like, I'm going to fucking Monarch.
Go kick that motherfucker's ass.
Yeah. And then
So I need to ask this because Corey and Lauren, you guys obviously picked for the doctor girl not to be the traitor.
Mhm.
So he ends up getting her like back and everything.
Yeah,
Right?
Uh-huh.
So in my playthrough, they were sitting there talking, and he grabs like a statue thing
yeah,
and
paperweight.
beats her over the head with it and kills her.
Oh
that-
my God.
Okay, all right, I guess that didn't happen. Huh?
No, that is
No.
gruesome.
Okay.
He tells her to go to the lifeboat and like be safe, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, in ours, he has Martin Hatch handcuffed,
Yeah.
and he has like a bunch of soldiers taking him. They get in an elevator, and then when he gets to the bottom of the elevator, Hatch is out of his handcuffs, and all 4 of the soldiers that are in the
He did
elevator
some.
with him.
Yeah, he did fucking John Wick shit.
Yeah, he,
Like,
like
you don't
kicked-
even get to see it.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
And then after that, Liam and his wife shows up there.
And he just
He
starts
murders. He
John
murders like
Wick and
10 or
people.
12 people.
literally
His wife's
one
just
by
like
killing
"God damn it."
everybody.
It's funny because you progressively get to see his wife be like, "All right, I'm glad you're here."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you're murdering everybody. And then he's like, "Oh, we'll explain." And then she gets down in like the lifeboat thing, and no one says anything. No one's like, "Hey guys, we initiated this early. Sorry." Pretty funny.
Yeah, and so they meet Charlie for the 3rd time, and Liam pulls a gun on him like immediately,
Yep.
and he's like, "I should kill you, like right now." And Charlie,
And he was trying to tell him that Joyce has a plan and he could save everybody. They don't need the lifeboat protocol. He just needs the countermeasure to save everybody to fix time. And he's like, I'm not listening to you. And he's like, well, then fucking kill me. Shoot me. And then Hatch shoots him right in the back of the head. It was fucking awesome.
What?
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you, this is where it starts differing, like who lives. Who
Yeah.
Oh.
Mine, Hatch shot Charlie. Then Liam
Wait.
and Hatch start fighting, and Liam kicks the shit out of Hatch and shoots him and stabs him in the eye with a fucking knife. With the knife that he cut the dude's throat with.
oh, so ours is very different
Yeah.
because we have Hatch comes in, he shoots Liam in like fucking cold blood.
Well, Liam and Emily and Charlie go all up to the countermeasure to retrieve it for Jack. And then while they're sitting there waiting for Charlie to do whatever, Hatch comes into the room and points his gun at Emily's like in the back of her head. Then he tells Liam to drop his gun, and whenever he does, he just shoots Liam.
Yeah, he shoots him in the stomach, and then he shoots him like in the
his
back, like
back,
his right
like,
shoulder
shoulder.
blade.
Oh shit.
Then Hatch goes over to Charlie, and he says, give me access to this." Charlie said, "I can't do that." Hatch pulls the gun on Charlie, and Charlie's like, "Let me see what I can do." At this point, Emily has dragged Liam like behind I don't know what it is, like a desk.
Yeah.
And he's bleeding like a ton. There is a ton of blood. And they have like their moment where, he's like, "Oh, I love you. Like, I do everything I do for you," basically. Charlie lets Hatch into the protocol, and as he goes to touch it, he reactivates it. And at that point, you assume that Hatch is dead because he like evaporates.
It absorbs him or something.
And then Charlie's like, "Hey, we're good." And he like goes to walk over to talk to Emily. Hatch appears behind him and like throws him through this thing of glass. And as Hatch is going over to Charlie to kill him, Emily starts shooting at Hatch. And then eventually he turns to her and he's walking towards her. And when he gets like real close, she shoots him directly in the eye.
So either way, you get something in the eye, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it in the eye regardless.
Yeah, then he falls and like dies. Charlie sends Emily down to the lifeboat to tell Fiona that he has to help,
Jack.
has to help Jack.
Okay, so in my scenario, Charlie was the first one in the lifeboat. and then a bunch of people come walking in, and
It's the same
Fiona
for
came
us.
walking in.
Yeah, it's the same for
That
us.
was the same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then where it changed was
Was
Liam
whenever
and
Liam and Charlie were like arguing.
they were arguing up at the top of the building, and then Hatch came, shot Charlie in the back of the head.
Fucking crazy.
Hatch and Liam started fighting. Liam stabbed him in the eye and killed him, and then he became a striker.
Yeah, he became.
He became one of those.
So
So Jack ended up killing Liam.
So I know, like, in his premonition, like, when you pick as Paul, it shows you, like, Jack fighting Liam or whatever. So my thought was that Liam is probably going to die, and I would rather Liam die from someone else than me have to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
So
I didn't want to kill Liam. That's why I didn't want to do that one.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't want him to die, but I figured if he was going to die, I don't want to be responsible for it.
Gotcha.
And that was the decision that me and Lauren made.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
And then at that point, Charlie starts working on the computer again, and it goes into the final act where you play as Jack as he storms Monarch.
And the differences in our playthrough is Charlie helps you navigate through Monarch. Ours is Fiona.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
And then we obviously fight Liam Burke.
Yep.
That's basically it. Like, you just run through.
You guys
trying to
fight
get the
Liam?
Pawpaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we fight anyone?
I don't think we really fight anyone.
It's not much of a boss fight or anything. And
Yeah, no, it's
I
just,
don't believe he dies either, by the way.
Yeah.
Also in ours, like in the countermeasure room, there's a body bag and it has a Liam Burke's like name on it.
Oh, ours says Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh.
You basically just scale through the building up to the top in the first part. There's like a section where you fight a couple like big guys in the middle of a room, like time's all fucked up and like people are frozen everywhere.
Right.
You get to the countermeasure, basically, like working your way up. And you put a giant countermeasure in your pocket.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
And then you go into, the time machine is moved up there now.
You also get a call from Paul saying you'll be seeing him soon.
Oh yeah, yep. And then you fight like a bunch of people in that room, and then you're eventually able to use the time machine to go back in time to the beginning of the game, where you replay all the events from a different perspective. So you're basically following your former present self.
Yeah.
Yeah, which then you realize like you set yourself up. Like,
yeah, where all these
got the power and
all these events that you see that have no explanation in the first act all make sense now.
Yeah.
You basically go through like a bunch of people.
And then you get to the best part.
You fight like a bunch of people in like the parking deck. Then you get to the library scene where all the rubble of the library falls on Will, but you're there to save him this time.
Yep.
Which, can I just say, you technically saved him the first time.
Exactly.
Right, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
And then you leave, like you have a little more after that, and then you and Will head to the pool house.
Yep.
So,
And-
by the way, I don't know if this actually like did anything, but at the one part with Will, two Monarch guards like come out of a building and it, like tells you to like stay down until like they leave.
yeah.
Does anything happen if you end up shooting them? Because
I
I
killed
sat
them.
there and
I did
I
not kill
killed
him.
him.
I killed him.
Did-
I just straight murdered them.
Yeah.
does Will
anything
say
happen.
anything about it?
I think he does this slightly like throwaway line.
Yeah, he's like,
Okay.
why would you do something like that? Or
One of
some
my
shit.
favorite things about Charlie and or Jack and Will is the whole dynamic of he keeps comparing time to an egg, and at that
Yeah.
point he's like, "Dude, shut the fuck up about an egg." Oh.
And at one point, like Will tells you, like, you never listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. 'cause
listen
if he
now,
didn't
though.
shoot them. He's like, oh, like I'm surprised you didn't do anything. Like usually you just do whatever you want. You don't listen to me.
Yeah, I did
And
not
Jack's
listen to
like,
him.
yeah.
Well, no, he's like, ever since I caused the fracture, I'll listen now or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see Beth, and you decide not to touch her and like unfreeze her because it's like a time freeze.
Yep.
Then you go back to the pool house, and it kind of like shows you some things that you notice when you're first there, like the paint being wet and things like that, like getting knocked over, the door being locked the way that it was.
Yeah.
You reset
Is
the
all-
time machine.
Yeah.
Well, we set it
Well-
up. This is why you have to reset it before.
Yeah, we just set it up this time.
Yeah, because when you do
Like
the last
normal.
time, when you do the last time, we have to reboot everything. They said there's been a test at 7 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we just got here. There's no fucking way.
So you do go through time, right? You walk through.
Yep,
all
you
of them.
go back to where you basically just came from.
Yeah.
And
Like the time wise.
you come out, and that phone call where it shows Paul like breaking into the pool house is taking place at that moment.
Yeah.
So Paul basically meets you as the time, like it freezes time, and like you go to unfreeze Will, and Paul breaks in, and he's like, hey, fuck you, I'm not gonna let you do this. And this is the most frustrating battle ever.
Why?
Well,
No.
it was fine once I figured out all you do is fucking run from him. It was like,
No, you just run from the red orb. That's all you do.
I didn't see the red orb
No.
for like 5 or 6 deaths.
So the red orb was not the
Well,
problem.
I played it before, so like I knew what I was doing, but
The red orb in this was not the issue. It was the fact that I would die randomly, and the fact that my controls were so shitty.
oh, because you're playing mouse and keyboard.
I did this boss fight by switching to the controller
Really?
because it was that infuriating.
I was having a lot of camera issues.
Yeah, and just
Because
imagine
it wanted,
that.
it wanted to show you, like, he's throwing orb. I didn't see the orb. And I'm, like, running away. I'm on the other side of the fucking map.
Just so imagine that times like 10, because the camera wouldn't move left or right.
Yeah.
I don't
was
know
gonna
what was
text you
happening, and it was so
Tell
frustrating.
you, like, all you do is run the lap. Keep
Yeah.
running laps.
Well, that's
all
like
you
this
Yeah.
game. This game is just run a circle around your enemies until you take them out.
Yep.
do.
Yeah.
It is 100%.
Yep.
But it was to the point where, like, after I died like 8 times, I was like, I don't even care if I finish this fucking thing. I was like, this is so frustrating. But then I finished it, and it's the most like
Yeah.
not satisfying thing ever.
Yep.
Yeah, because when they originally did it, they were planning for a sequel.
So you shoot Paul a bunch, and you think he's dead.
I don't. I it's weird what
He, like,
happens.
falls off the thing. And
Yeah.
then you come up, and then eventually bash his fucking head in, which was cool because it, like,
Yeah.
happened as, like, time
You fucking
froze.
Superman punch him, and he fucking goes flying and smashes his head.
And there's like blood like frozen behind him.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that you get to inspect that part after.
Yep.
I just stare at him like,
Yeah.
You
Hate
messed
you,
with the
man.
wrong
Motherfucker, that's what
dude,
you
man.
get, dog.
yeah.
And so then you go with Will and you set up the countermeasure. Will tells you that it needs charge, so you use your Cronin power or Chrono power
Yeah.
Yeah.
to charge it. As you're doing it, Paul is still alive.
Well, no, it like kind of like fractures time because you're using time. So like he kind of like didn't die then.
They like
That's how
rewinded
I.
him.
Yeah, you like
2 seconds.
rewinded time. Like,
It's like just the weirdest segment.
yeah, it was really
Yeah.
weird.
And
Yeah.
then he kind of disappears, and as Will's like examining the countermeasure because he's like, I don't know if this worked. I think it worked. You start having all these weird like glitches.
You're having all of
You were having,
Shireen's
like,
problems.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then that's it.
Yeah. Then credits start rolling.
Then credits
then-
roll.
Credits roll, and it cuts back to him whispering in Beth's ear,
Oh
"I'm
yeah,
gonna come back for you." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Weird, okay." But you thought time couldn't be changed. Wouldn't this just prove all
Yeah.
that?
yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, and plus the entire game is being done over an interview.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then after the credits, there's an like you finish your interview, and you walk in the hallway, and then there's Martin Hatch.
Yeah, and
Which I didn't understand.
her whole thing, like at the interview, was like, now that you know you can't change anything, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Uh,
And
weird.
but yeah, you see Martin Hatch in the hallway, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to take over," like like kind of like what Paul was doing, and then it leaves as like if you were going to be able to pick the junction, and then just the game ends. And that
Yeah.
is Quantum Break.
How long did it take you guys?
like 11 hours.
Really?
I got every single collectible and the Chronosphere.
Fair enough.
I got
media.
most things.
I got most things on the. Oh, yeah.
What do you think we were at, Lauren?
um,
I feel
Like just
Yeah.
gameplay, not with like the fractured, not with like the episodes. Like
Oh, then I didn't count the episodes. It's like 8 to 9 hours.
I did it in like 5.5.
I
I
think
also had
I think
Maybe.
total we were somewhere in the ballpark of like 8 or 9 hours.
yeah, I think so too.
I took this screenshot because Xbox captures stuff. I used my time stoppage ability 209 times, my blast 51 times, my time dodge ability 274 times, my time rush usage is 212 times, my time shield usage is 150, and my head I got like 100 or almost 300 headshots and 28 deaths or something.
So
But I don't know how much time I had. I looked at Xbox's stats and
I
it
think
said
it's wrong.
7.5.
I don't think
But
it
I don't
counts the
know if
videos.
it was counting the episodes.
Yeah, I
And
don't
if
think
it's
it does.
counting the episodes, then it'd be like 5.5. I think.
Mine said like 16, but I got to Act 4 on my first run, in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that when we were playing through this, I had one like major issue. What the fuck was Martin Hatch's plan?
Oh no, the world's ending, but he's like business.
Yeah.
business."
And I'm like,
I didn't
you
understand
are
that.
about to have time freeze. What is he doing with it?
Yeah, and like if I trusted somebody from 1999 till now about building this business, and like he has a whiteboard of like 9/11, all this shit, I would be like, oh, he knows the end of the world's coming. Like,
I just had no idea. Like the whole time, I'm like, what the fuck is his goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Corey talked about that during that. Or like they never expand on what his goal is. Like at
I
all.
think they would have probably in the sequel, like he might have knew something more. I don't remember if I read anything about.
Also, don't know. Like he has he has the ability to move through time too.
Yeah, just from what I've seen, I don't know.
Because at the end they kind of like lightly give it to you, like show you because he like runs through you in that hallway.
Yeah, they talk about like in a couple of like did you guys look at Paul like Serene's like whiteboard and his plans for 2021 and stuff?
I didn't read all of it.
It just was talking about him like them preparing for like shifters at the end. He was like, people are gonna start developing abilities. Like that's why they're making. I was kind of like, why are they having all these anti like weapons for like people who could teleport? And then it started making a little more sense when it was like,
Yeah.
oh, they were preparing for people to also be like this.
Yeah,
Like
I
a
just.
develop-
I felt like there was a couple things that didn't really like end right. If that makes sense. Like it has like a loose ending.
The whole game had like a kind of a loose ending.
Mhm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you have specific examples?
Just like at the end where Jack just kind of has all of his like the same problems as Paul, where he just kind of like shifting all
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's like it took like Paul 17 years to develop it that bad, and it's
Uh,
been 24,
Yeah.
25 hours.
And then
Yeah, but he
Hatch
went
being
back and-
alive
But
was
Paul
really
went back multiple
confusing.
times.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause he
Martin
going
Hatch
back
is
each
alive
month.
because they like reset everything.
Mhm.
They didn't reset anything.
No, it just rewinds back, or it just releases earlier.
Oh, maybe it was earlier
But
then.
wouldn't you be playing because they do the protocol right basically as like the fracture takes place or whatever, right? I don't know. I
No.
was like
Will
super
said he had to go
confused.
back to where Jack originally came from, like
Yeah.
at that point, which would have been whenever the whole lifeboat
Lifeboat
protocol would have
Because
been going on.
Because Paul said,
So
"I gotta
Martin
go back."
Hatch would have already been like either shot in the eye or stabbed in the
Stabbed
eye
in
at
the
this
eye.
point.
I don't know.
That's why I was like, "How are you
Yeah,
still
it's-
alive, there,
Maybe
bud?"
it's like a clone of him or something. Because don't you think he
Maybe.
would maybe have been like curious about the time travel?
So my issue with time in general, like these time traveling time machine movies, they can make a story, but they never have any clue how to end it.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's super lackluster, no matter what it is. I'm not just saying like this game or like anything. Just anything dealing with time travel is usually the ending is pretty piss poor.
Yeah, no, I agree. As you were texting me about that yesterday, I thought about it. I was like, yeah.
I did have one question to ask you guys. If you were given the opportunity to travel in time, where would you travel to?
Day before the lottery numbers were given out.
Just you're like a week ago. I could time travel
Yeah.
whenever I want, but I'm just gonna go a week ago, win the lottery.
Why not, man? The lottery's like $420 million right now.
I don't think I have like a really answer to this. Like there's things that
know.
I'd like to see, and it also depends on like what it is. Like if am I there and am I vulnerable?
Because you're there.
Or like am I in like a bubble?
Like, is it like I'm just a spectator?
That's what I'm saying. Like, am I like just watching? Am I actually there? Because that's gonna change things.
Yeah.
Now, are we talking like going back in time and being able to change things, or are we talking like in Quantum Break where Will said that the past is the past and cannot be changed? So whatever has happened has already happened.
I guess like I mean if you're in the logic of most time travel, you can't change the past.
Yeah.
So I would think that if you just went and observed, so like I don't know if Tony's lottery thing would work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. I would
Unless it's already
probably-
happened.
Yeah, unless it's already happened. Already,
Yeah.
man. Could be a billionaire.
All right.
Yeah.
He's just waiting for Bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Lauren? Do you know where you travel to?
The future.
That's true. That's probably not a bad one.
I would go to the future for multiple reasons, but one being that I'd like to see technology way more advanced than what it is. And I don't think we're going to live in a lifetime where I'll see the kind of things I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty
I
good.
definitely feel like our tech is still we
It's still
leaps and
very
bounds.
primitive. In
Yeah.
what it,
Oh yeah, but in the general like look from fuck, I've been alive for almost 28 years, and it's like from high school to now, it's very drastic from what we can do.
Yeah.
Like just
You have a
thinking about it.
computer in your pocket pretty much every day.
we've also experienced the boom of the internet too.
Yeah.
Good old internet.
So now that we're at the end, I think it's a great time for me to go around and ask everyone if they would recommend this. So would you recommend the game, and why or why not? We will start with Dan.
Man, I knew it. I knew you were gonna start with me. But I don't know. I want to say I do recommend it, but at the same time, it's like I feel like this game is like missing things. Like most of the time, like all the enemies you face, you kind of just reface the same type of enemies. Like
Yep.
there's not a lot of replayability, I guess is the best way to put it. Like it's just kind of there. I would say if the game is like maybe like $10, yeah, sure, get it. But if it was like brand new, like $60, no.
I literally told Lauren that if I paid $60 for this game, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Lauren, see what her thoughts are on this.
Since I couldn't even physically play the gameplay portion of it because A, there's no fucking way I would have been able to make it through it, and B, I don't play shooters. No. The story's good though. I like the story, don't get me wrong, but this isn't something that I would spend money on. Just based on my type of gameplay. If you like shooters and you like a good story, sure. I have no issues with that if that's your gameplay.
Dunza?
So I'll just go through mine. We didn't talk about the mechanics and stuff, which I wrote quite a bit about in my notes. But I just had recommends depending if you like single player games, and I was like, I'm biased because I really like Remedy. I root for their studio just because like I love like Alan Wake. I like Control. I like all the lore and world building they do, but they do all continue to have the same problems of like 4 or 5 enemies. You kind of do the same things. They have a couple things that are super cool, but overall it's just a medium quality game with neat concepts.
Are you happy that you finally finished this?
Yeah, but like I don't know, I wasn't as like I don't know. I liked reading the lore, I think, more than sometimes than playing the game. Like the world building, seeing the references to Alan Wake, and like just seeing them kind of like just add their like little like that's what I think Remedy does really well is like world building. But like after playing and fighting the same enemy and like the pistol sucked in that game. I love using pistols. And each enemy doesn't matter if they're the same or different, took different amount of bullets and time to kill. I hated that.
Me too.
So I'd rate it probably like a 6 or 7. Just depends on what you're in the mood for. A single player, it's short, it's easy, it's different. Like especially with the movie cutscenes.
All right, Tony. So you recommended this game. I know you really liked it. Playing
Yep.
it through again, does it hold up to what you originally thought of it?
No.
No.
Which I get that because it came out like it was a new concept. It was
Yeah, it was like
in the
I want to
first
say it
year
was
of the
like the
Xbox.
first game that I actually like the first brand new game that I bought for the Xbox.
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
good
It
exclusive.
was like the first exclusive that came out that wasn't broken. Like it
So-
wasn't broken when it came out. Like there was nothing wrong with the game when it came out.
So would
It was
you
complete and finished.
still recommend it?
I still recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't have recommended it for the podcast for us to do if I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, it didn't hold up to what like my expectations of it being of when I played it the first time. But it was still a good game. It was nice to see like different aspects because I chose different choices.
Yeah, you get to experience the story a different way.
Yeah.
No, I think definitely since it's on Game Pass, I mean I could recommend any game on Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I got it for $1 because that's how much Game Pass cost for me. It was $1, and then I'm going to cancel Game Pass. So, yeah,
It's
You're
it was definitely worth it for $1.
it's so last night if you would ask me this question, I would have told you absolutely not. I did not enjoy playing this. As I churned it into my head after sleeping, thinking about it today leading up to the podcast, I'm somewhere in the middle. I do not like the combat in this game. It drives me crazy. I like the story for the most part, other than the kind of like loose ends. The episodes are super good. If I could just watch the TV show of this game, I would totally do so.
I put in this. I would rather see a mini series than play the game.
I
again.
literally told Lauren
agree.
this.
Yeah, he did last night. He was like, a mini series would be
I-
perfect.
I love like Remedy. Like I love that studio. I love how like they build lore and build the worlds, but they kind of fall short in the same aspect for every single one of their games.
It's
And like this is coming from a person that will play Alan Wake again remastered.
it
because I want
is rough. There's lots of parts of this that I did not enjoy playing, but there was things that I really liked as well. We didn't talk about it at all, but the soundtrack is really good.
that
Yeah.
credit song is listed like because I took a lot of notes actually, and I was like, I love that like end credit song.
Yeah, I liked all the songs, even just those little like beats that they play at the end of each act.
Yeah.
So the soundtrack, wonderful. Episodes, wonderful. Don't like the gameplay. Story is it could have been polished a little better. I am not typically a fan of third-person shooters or first-person shooters for that matter. But I guess for the price, and if you're willing to get past some of the clunkiness of the gameplay, I think it's worth checking it out because it is very different.
Yeah. Definitely different.
But like I said, if we would have recorded this when we finished this last night, I would have been like, "Fuck this game, worst game ever. I hate this
I'm
thing."
glad you thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying as a person to pull more positivity out of things.
Yeah, like I like how I text him because he texts me that.
Yeah, because I
And
was
like,
pissed.
man, you can't just say you dislike something. What's something you found positive?
And the first thing I said was the episodes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and I like the soundtrack. But that being said, does anyone have anything else they want to say about Quantum Break?
No, I think we'd go back into rambling in a little
Yeah.
too long. So I
It's
think
already
I
been
think
pretty
we're good.
long. Yeah.
All right, so now for the next game on the Nerd Lag Game Club, it is Dan's pick for the month of
Ooh.
October. So
Oh, I'm
Dan, what
excited.
game did you pick, and why was that your choice?
So we are gonna play good old Cat Quest, and I basically because I've kind of always wanted to play it, and I never really found the time to. So I figured making it our game to play, giving me a reason to play it.
That's fair.
All right, what's it about?
It is a RPG. It's a cartoony, and you play as a cat in a world where everything is cats. I don't know too much about it. I didn't want to look too much into it.
They made a sequel.
There is a
recently.
sequel, so that tells you something. And it looks pretty interesting, and I'm kind of looking forward to playing it, just because I've kind of also has been in that like, oh, I think I'd check that out. So we're going back into an action RPG for the month of October.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
Lauren, did you have anything to say about it?
Oh, good.
All right. So I had a lot of fun with this episode about Quantum Break on the Nerd Lag Game Club. But before we go, we wanted to share where you can find us online. First, we do have a YouTube channel called Nerd Lag where we're still trying to get some content out there. We have a Facebook page at Nerd Lag Game Club where we've been talking about the podcast and some of the news around the podcast. We've been on Twitter quite a bit at NerdLag. I've been posting about the things we're getting into, the news we find kind of cool, or just what we're, seeing and doing at the time. We do have a Discord at NerdLag where pretty much everyone's going to be hanging out for the next week because of New World. So definitely join that. And if you're watching us or listening to us rather, on Spotify or Podbean or wherever you're listening to this, Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and share with your friends because it helps us out with growing the podcast. But until next time, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you.
See ya.
Bye.
ya.
Yeah.
Later.